It's a rare thing indeed when a movie can make you physically jump in your seat when some shocking event occurs, or tense up because you're so invested in what's happening on screen, or provoke an actual feeling of unease because you feel like you're right there in the thick of the action. But Warfare, a low-budget A24 movie directed by Alex Garland and former US Navy SEAL Ray Mendoza, is just such a film. I don't think I've ever experienced something quite like Warfare before. I mean, I've seen plenty of harrowing war movies in my time, from the chaos and carnage of Omaha Beach and Saving Private Ryan, to the desperate battle for survival against overwhelming odds in Black Hawk Down, to the madness and betrayals of Platoon. And not to take anything away from those movies, but how can I put this? I was never able to forget that I was watching a movie. They looked and felt cinematic, from the performances to the camera work to the musical scores, and so there was always a certain distance between me and what was happening on screen. Warfare breaks down that barrier in a way that few movies ever have, throwing you right into the middle of the action by presenting its events in the kind of matter-of-fact, by-the-numbers style of a real military engagement. No frivolous editing techniques or overwrought dramatic performances, or soundtracks straining for poignant emotion and heart-pounding drama. It's a movie that somehow doesn't even feel like a movie, with none of the safe and reliable conventions of normal war films to fall back on, and the effect is that, well, you kind of feel like you're right there amongst it, which is exactly how it should be. The film is set in Iraq in 2006 and follows a platoon of US Marines holed up in a house after breaking in during the night. Their mission is to keep a low profile and observe the streets and buildings in the area in support of a larger operation going on elsewhere. And at first, everything seems to be going to plan. There's an almost mundane sense of boredom on that first morning as the team make note of minor events in the area and communicate with their superiors. But as the day wears on, the warning signs begin to mount up. More and more men of fighting age start massing in nearby buildings, weapons and observers are spotted, and it soon becomes obvious that they've been rumbled. Before long, they're under attack and they've taken casualties, forcing them to call in support to evacuate the wounded. And well, this is where the shit really hits the fan. Pretty soon the team are pinned down and fighting for their very lives, many of them heavily wounded, and what follows is a desperate battle for survival as they try to hold off superior enemy forces and call in reinforcements to get them the hell out of there. But will they be able to persuade their superiors to risk even more men to get them out? And even if they do, can they hope to hold out until they get there? Honestly, I could spend a lot more time talking about the plot, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone, and really, it's not a particularly complex story anyway. The real tension and drama in this film is the moment-to-moment combat, the individual stories of heroism, bravery, sacrifice, and the hundreds of difficult decisions that have to be made in the heat of the moment, usually by guys who are injured, exhausted, and fighting for their lives. It's brilliant stuff that perfectly captures the chaos, the danger, and the constant need for communication that's all part of frontline combat in an urban environment like this. Ray Mendoza, the co-director, actually fought in this fucking battle and apparently worked closely with Garland to get the tactics, pacing, and dialogue as accurate as possible, and it shows. There is no insane Hollywood-style melodrama or hero shots in this one, just soldiers doing their best in a very tough situation. And because the film doesn't adhere to any of the conventions of normal war movies, you feel a constant sense of tension because anything could happen to anyone at any moment. Nobody is safe, and even when it seems like things might be looking up, you know that it could all fall apart in a heartbeat. I've never been within 1,000 miles of an actual war, and even I was tensed up watching it. Fuck knows what a film like this must be like for actual combat veterans. There's almost no musical score to speak of. The sound design is entirely based around the kind of booming gunfire and explosions and frantic radio chatter that you'd actually hear in a situation like that, and the only time it becomes a little more stylized is to show the devastating aftermath of an IED explosion. And wow, is it effective. I actually jumped in my seat at one point where something happened completely without warning or build-up, which I guess was exactly the point. If you're going to see this one, go see it in IMAX. Trust me, it'll be worth it. The cast all acquit themselves brilliantly. There's no particularly big stars in this one, but plenty of solid, recognisable character actors who all do a great job bringing their characters to life in a way that feels believable and realistic. Joseph Quinn and Will Poulter are both excellent, and Charles Melton especially is superb as a solid as fuck team leader sent in to reinforce the beleaguered platoon. And what's most impressive about Warfare is that it was all done on a tiny budget of just $20 million, and it looks great. Compare that to overblown shite like the Electric State that cost $320 million to shart out, or basically any Marvel movie these days, and you begin to realise what can actually be done by a smaller, dedicated team of professionals with a story they want to tell. The film's ending offers no real resolution or closure for the narrative, which I guess was the entire point, and you get the sense that for all the destruction caused and the lives lost, nothing of value was really accomplished by this battle. Both sides retreated to lick their wounds, only to be thrown into the meat grinder again when the next battle rolled around, neither one having gained any real advantage. Almost makes you think about all the people who pointlessly died in the real Iraq War, doesn't it? Either way, Warfare is a superb movie and a strong candidate for my best film of the year so far. Do yourself a favour and go see it and support a film that actually deserves your time and money for a change. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.